Asheville, North Carolina, a small city nestled in the Appalachian Mountains, known as an artistic center, an ideal retirement town, a place for leafers, and filled with ghost stories. I'm Rebekah, and rather than keep you in my own city, this week I'm going to share with you some travels. This week's episode was filmed in early March of 2020, just before lockdown restrictions took place in our state. I hope you enjoy. Hi, I'm Rebekah, and I work as a ghost tour guide in one of the most haunted cities in the southern United States, Wilmington, North Carolina. Follow along with me. I'm going to show you some of the most haunting photos captured on my ghost tour, and then we're going to go back to those locations during the day to see if we can figure out what went bump in the night. I'm Rebekah, the Ghost Guide. Asheville is a mountain city on I-40, about halfway between Greensboro and Knoxville. Prior to European settlers, all of this was Cherokee Nation. A key street running through the middle of the city center runs directly on top of a Cherokee trading route. While settlers were in the area prior to the 1900s, there were very few in number as the Cherokee continued to hold on to their land. Everything changed when the Western North Carolina Railroad came to town. This is where a part of my heritage comes in. My great-grandparents settled in a German-speaking town not far from Asheville. I remember my grandmother telling stories about how her German-speaking town would have to go around a mountain to the nearest town, which was an Italian-speaking town, and that the largest place around was Asheville. Back then, it took almost a day to get there. However, nowadays, from where she lives, it would take 30 minutes to an hour. She said everything changed when the railroad was built. A railroad that her father helped to build in and around Asheville. By 1900, Asheville was the third largest city in North Carolina. Its population grew with industry and wealth, up until the stock market crash. As the economy struggled, the architecture of downtown was kept, as it was in the Art Deco style, understood to be a time capsule for that time, even to this day. Today, Asheville calls to the people all across the East Coast. People are called to the scenery, the music scene, the artistic vibe. And for a while, I was called to the small business and environmentally friendly culture that Asheville provides. My trip there was more like a trip to going to another home. So I got some friends together and we went wedding dress shopping. But that's a whole other story. But what is travel without revisiting some ghostly sights? This is Prichard Park, located in the center of the city, where College runs into Patton Avenue. I walked by here almost daily when I worked here. I remember people coming here in swells to experience the drum circles. But what I, and I imagine most people, were unaware of was what was just beneath us. In 1865, the Battle of Asheville took place where the University of North Carolina in Asheville sits now. While this was considered to be a small battle compared to other Civil War battles, there were fatalities. The Confederates were rumored to take their dead and bury them just outside of the main stretch of town. At that time, would have been here. And this would later become Prichard Park. To this day, Confederate soldiers are still spotted wandering around, sitting on park benches, and disappearing right into thin air. I wonder if any of them ever attend the drum circle. A few blocks away from Prichard Park is the only basilica in western North Carolina. The Basilica of St. Lawrence, a part of the Roman Catholic Church. Within and around this stunning historical building lie stories of human preservation as well. Architect Raphael Gustavino is believed to have been so passionately protective of this grand building that he decided to stay. He, his wife, and his daughter are buried on the grounds. Unexplained lights, orbs, and cold spots are common here, and they may not only be from Gustavino. A former priest has also been seen passing through and occasionally opening and shutting doors. Many people come to Asheville and fall in love with everything it has to offer. And with a view like this, I understand why some would stay behind to care for the Basilica of St. Lawrence, even if that meant staying behind into the next life as well. The last location I will be taking you to may be one of the more famous ghostly locations in Asheville proper. Easily located on Google Maps, this is Helens Bridge. If you go, be prepared to take on some steep Appalachian mountain-style roads. This place was dark enough during the day. I imagine the presence is even more overwhelming near the latest parts of the night. While the bridge was constructed in 1909, its chilling nature would not be sealed until the 1930s. It was said that Helen was a woman who dreamed of having a child of her own. Unfortunately, she didn't get married until much later, and being from a conservative place, she couldn't dream of doing anything before marriage. By the time she was married, she was told that she was too old to have children. But that didn't keep her from trying. Through the impossibility, she finally became pregnant. The pregnancy was not easy, and it was understood that she was dealing with a number of mental health problems. It is unknown if her husband left before or after the child was born. But when that child was born, she was in love with her new baby daughter. Unfortunately, she was alone in the world. She had no other income except for what she could earn on her own. And so she had to leave for the workforce. And during different times of the day, the child, as it grew, would have to be alone. It is unknown what exactly happened, but the story goes that Helen one day came back from work and saw that her small house was completely ablaze and that her daughter was trapped inside. Grief overtook her, so overwhelming that she didn't see a way out. But she did see a rope on the outside of her house. She took that rope and went up to the highest place that she could immediately find, a lone bridge over a private property. She tied the rope up and jumped. This is only one of the many stories that you'll hear of Helen. The reason for there being so many stories has to do with the lack of historical documentation we have on this. You will not find Helen's story in a newspaper. However, countless people to this day still report seeing a woman with a tragic look in her eyes, wandering about the area and asking people if they know where her daughter is. It has also been understood that there are technology issues there. People have reported their cars suddenly turning off or locking on them. I myself actually experienced a number of footage issues while I was filming this episode. Anything from different shakes in the camera that I know I didn't do, almost as if it had dropped, but also some of my film was completely deleted from my phone. This did not happen on any of my other videos up until this point. And on top of that too, my battery that was once fully charged started to drain rapidly before I got back to the car. While I did not physically see Helen or whoever the woman may be who's wandering around the area, I did have something different happen in my experience. And so I took a quick video of my mom and me talking about it right after the fact. Hey there, we're out here at Helens Bridge in Asheville, North Carolina, and I've just gotten done with some filming, but we were both really just remarking on how sad it feels.
Just driving up here.
Yeah.
And then when we saw the bridge, it was just like a rush of...
Yeah, like, and that's the thing, the bridge is like right over here. Even before we got up, like even before I saw it, I just got like this sadness. And it's like a heaviness.
It's a real heaviness in my chest. It's just...
Yeah, like I feel a bit in my chest and I feel it like in my gut, like I just feel sad. So,
Well, when I went up there, I said a little something. I was like, hey, we feel for you, Helen. And I said, I was like, I'm sorry that I feel like, I'm sorry that you felt like you had no way out. You know, that you felt like this was the last thing left for you. So
maybe that's the kind of feeling of just desperation.
Yeah, like, because she was in so much pain. You know, she really just felt like she lost her whole world, and this was the only thing that she could do. So,
and then the rain today just kind of puts a damper on it.
Yeah, there's a whole thing. But whew, I said my piece and what I could, but I'm ready to go.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
All right.
While there are many mysteries and ghostly tales that are likely never to be solved, I will always feel a draw back to the mountains. While I've moved away from Asheville, I feel like my time in that beloved town has yet to end. Rather, it just picks up here and there. A part of me will always be found in the mountains. And that part is only a small thread of what makes up a huge tapestry of what is Asheville, North Carolina. I'm Rebekah the Ghost Guide. See you next week. Hi everybody, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your patience as I did not post last week. Many of you expressed condolences, and I just so appreciate that so much. Thank you for your patience. And your patience has not been wasted throughout that time. We have been creating a Patreon page, so be sure to check that out and give us feedback on it. What do you like? What do you not like? What are you interested in? Let us know. My email is always below. Be sure to reach out on my email, as it is the best way to not lose any of those messages and keep them organized from my end. As always, if you don't want to do the Patreon, but you do want to give a little bit, I am on Venmo, I am on PayPal. Consider giving just a little bit. I'm currently completely unemployed, and that whole government stimulus thing is not coming for me for some reason. Got more content coming out, anything from ghostly photos to photos that we debunk to travel photos on Austin, Texas and New York City. And our next Q&A session will be a very popular question that you've been asking: how to cleanse not only your house, but also yourself. And it's not just going to be me giving feedback on this. I'm actually going to consult other practitioners that I know, other spiritual people that I know, so you get a more well-rounded answer on how people do things differently, but how they all work, because it comes from the heart and it comes from you. So stay tuned for that. Thank you again for watching. I'm Rebekah, the Ghost Guide.